All right, welcome everybody to the Koochiching County Board of Commissioners regular meeting for Tuesday, September 23rd. Will you please help me open with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, everyone. First under county business is to approve the proposed agenda with additions and or deletions. We have two additions. First addition will be to consider approval of landlord's waiver and consent agreement with MGG Investment Group LP. I believe this is for a TV tower, is that correct? On County Road 24, would that be right?
I'm not sure the road, but
I believe it is. That's the first edition. We will place that edition under A6. And the second edition is to approve the Pheasants Forever dedication event as a board activity. Pheasants Forever is hosting a dedication event to memorialize the conservation and community work of Bob Lessard and Bob Anderson through a sharp-tailed grouse management area that will be managed by the DNR, and the event is on 4 p.m. Monday, October 6th. That will be our second edition. We'll put that under A7. Are there any other additions or deletions? No deletions. Chair would accept the motion to accept the agenda with additions.
I'll move the motion. I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Thank you, Commissioner Hall. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up is to approve minutes from the September 9th, 2025 regular meeting. Everything in the minutes look good.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hunt. Any discussion on the minutes? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up is financial business. Chair would accept a motion on items A, B, and C today to start. A being approved courthouse claims, B, approved highway claims, and C, approved public health and human services claims.
Make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion on the claims?
Mr. Chair, do you have a question on the Health and Human Service? Derek,
But I don't have my packet, and it was the DHS. There was the DHS packet, or in the packet that's sent to our homes.
140 something was low.
Yeah.
That was from what's called estate recovery. We do that program for the state, so there's the medical assistants can recover funds from the state for people that owe medical assistance that require more money if they pass away, if they have any assets that are sold off. That's recovered through state recovery.
Okay.
And we do that out of our office, and that money comes in, and then we get to keep 20% of it, and 80% of it goes back to the state. So that's what that large one was estate recovery.
Okay.
And that can fluctuate like that. So.
Appreciate that. I learned something today. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I was going to call you and I just didn't get around to it, but I appreciate it. So, like a state recovery, and then of the financial from the county, and then that goes back to help reimburse the state and ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, we get the 20% to run that program.
Okay. Thank you, Derek. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next up is to approve warrant voids, and I think we have a handful of them today. We get to them. We have a warrant void of dated from 3/21/25 in the amount of $20.29. The next is void dated 3/11 of 2025 in the amount of $335.89. We have another void from 6/24/25 in the amount of $77. And we have another one from 3/25/25 in the amount of $260. These are lost warrants and the affidavits are on file.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Erickson. Any discussion on the voids? Hearing now, call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. All right, next up is set preliminary 2026 county tax levy. I will hand it over to the Administrator Cook.
Sure, so just a little background. Budget process started in June by sending out budget spreadsheets to department directors. Those budgets were due to me towards the end of July. Based on preliminary submission of all those budgets, I think we were looking at close to a 14% levy increase to cover what was submitted. I know that we've met several times between now and then, and right now we're looking at an 8.99% levy increase based on how the budget sits, but knowing that we have the next few months to do line item budget reviews to look at them at an even deeper level. So the recommendation from our committee of the whole meeting last week was to set it at the 8.99%. That would be general revenue levy for $2,678,849, which would be an increase of $220,579. Health and Human Services levy would be $2,245,996, which is an increase of $476,965. Highway would remain the same at $1,522,558. Environmental Services would stay the same at $260,449. And the levy for jail bond debt for the 2022 jail bond and the 2024 jail bond would stay the same at $1,640,000 to cover the jail bonded debt. So the total levy with that 8.99% increase would be $8,347,552. In addition to setting the preliminary levy, we're requesting that the board announce and approve the Truth and Taxation meeting that is set to go over the budget and the levy for 2026, which is scheduled for Tuesday, December 9th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in this room, the courthouse's third floor historic courtroom.
All right, thank you, Adam. Wishes of the board.
I'll make a motion.
Second. As presented.
Yep.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
I'll second.
Second, Commissioner McIntyre. Thank you. Discussion.
I know they worked hard already to get it down that far, so we'll see if we can get it down further yet. I'm sure we still have more meetings to go, so.
I would agree. I think it was a great job to not come out of the gate with a double-digit increase. I know times are tight and probably getting a little bit tighter as time goes on. You know, there'll be more information will come out about I think health and human services and things like that, where these may be pass-through type deals that we may not be able to financially afford without having a levy increase. So. But we'll be working on continuing, as Commissioner Roach said, to see where we can find a little more decrease in the levy here if we can. And I think moving forward, we've had preliminary discussions about having workshops beginning in the first quarter of 2026 to start looking at obviously 2027 budgets and kind of see where we may land and try to get a grip on where we might be, so we can maybe start pushing back on some of these mandates, unmandated and mandated type fundings. So, but yeah, I do appreciate too. I know it was a lot of preliminary work a little early on. I think Minister Cole kind of spearheaded that and wanted to get a good grip on it, and I do appreciate everybody working on it like that. So, any other comments? Right. So let's go over the recommended action again. Is approve the proposed 2026 county preliminary gross tax levy at $8,347,552, which is an 8.99 increase from 2025. Those increases are going to go to Public Health and Human Services in the amount of $467,965 and general revenue in the amount of $220,579. All the other highway environmental services and the jail bonded debt, there'll be no increase to any of those. Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. All right, next up is Human Resources. Hi, Brian.
Good morning, Commissioners. Happy Tuesday.
Morning.
So, first on agenda for 4A is to approve employment separation of Linnea Imhoff as our public health educator effective tomorrow, September 24th, and post her replacement position.
Wishes of the board.
We should be sad to lose her. She's a good employee.
She is. We are sad.
Is she moving on or moving on over? Is she still in the system or is she leaving the county?
She's leaving the county. I don't know where she's going. So,
Hasn't been here long.
year and a half.
Year and a half.
So this is to approve the separation of the public health educator and approve to fill the vacancy. And are we have, I know we haven't had an actual hiring freeze at this time as yet. Is this a grant funded position?
This,
In preliminary conversations, they're requesting to backfill the position, but they are reevaluating the position right now. It is a grant-funded position. They're taking a look at those grants to see if there's any difference in the type of position that we need for those grants to cover them. But I don't know if Derek has anything to add there, but I know they're taking a look at it as we are with all open positions right now to see if they're necessary, or if they need to be structured differently. With the climate, with the state and federal government stuff, we want to take a hard look at all the positions that we have.
Is this something that we want to hold on the approval of to fill the vacancy? Is that something that would be a consideration until it's evaluated?
That's an option. I think that we are evaluating it, and if the recommendation is not to fill, we would come back and say such. But if you guys would like to hold off, then that would be the board's decision.
All right. Wishes of the board.
Well, I think we work with Derek and find out if the position, if there's any other way of somebody else assuming it over there in part of the role, we can eliminate the position with one less.
Was this position filled before Linnea come?
There was always one public health educator in that department, and I think about 9 months ago we added a second based on a number of grants that we had that we weren't able to complete, but we had enough grant dollars to create a second position. So there has been 2 positions for the last
January, wasn't it?
6, 9 months.
Something like that,
Yeah, 9 months.
you brought on Isabella Galt as well as the secondary.
They are evaluating the grants to make sure there's enough to cover, and the department positions to see if there's any other capacity to work through that. Public health is unique in that way largely because their positions are largely grant funded. I know the proposed budget for 26 is that public health is at break even or a very small surplus of maybe $2,600. But I think that's always going to be the expectation for public health, is that it covers the services they provide. There is and has historically been a levy to public health too. About $100,000 goes to public health because some of their support positions, accounting and reception and stuff like that, is not grant funded, but is necessary to process the grants, to provide all the support that we're working on the grants to get that funding back. But that's kind of how public health largely works there. So
I'm just a little concerned with some of the pass-through grant funding that may or may not be available anymore, be it through the state or federal government. I guess I'm just kind of wondering if the grants are going to slow down or not be as many available. Would it make sense to kind of take a look at that? And
Yeah, that's what we've been evaluating the position and seeing if it's something that we would need to fill. We wanted to ask to fill because we do have it budgeted for 2026. But if we are able to justify being able to spread that work and still capture all those grant dollars, if that's something we can do, we would come back to the board and say, we're not going to fill this position. I don't want to post it right away. We want to do that evaluation first before we did post it. But if we had the approval, if we comes out, yes, this funding is going to be stable, we're going to be able to do this. Because it's not just necessarily the grants that could be changing. We're also looking at some changes that could potentially be coming up with healthcare care coordination, which is another piece that's done on public health. Those health plans that could be changing there and making some changes, so that could help. That could affect some of the revenue generation in that department as well. So we really want to take a good hard look at this before we fill the position, just because it's a lot easier to not fill a position than be short on the budget and have to worry about it.
well, yeah,
We can wait till after the first of the year and revisit it again. Is that fine with you?
Yeah, we should be able to have information figured out before the first of the year quite easily. So probably before you have to set the final budget, because this could change our line as well on there. So.
yeah, I just don't want to bring somebody on and then have to.
Yeah, especially with the state and federal climate that's going on right now, all the different changes. I mean, there's been, since we approved this position, there's been so many different things that have been eliminated and passed from the federal or the state down to the counties, and I'm nervous that that's going to continue to fix their bottom line up at the top. They're passing it down the line.
Right.
It's not going away, it's just being passed down. So.
Right. Yeah, there wouldn't be a lot of sense to bring someone on and then a year down the road or a year and a half down the road not be able to fund it, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway. All right, wishes of the board. The summary is approve employment separation of Linnea Imhoff, public health educator, effective 9/24/2025, and post replacement position.
I'll make the motion. Are we gonna post it or are we gonna wait until?
We'll post it, well, we'll wait until after Derek's recommendation.
Okay.
So approve employment separation and reevaluate the position and report back to the board?
Yep.
Okay.
Is that okay with your motion? Yep. All right. Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Is that a second, Commissioner?
Yep.
Second with Commissioner Roach. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. We got a few notices.
Thank you. So, notice of hire of Kylan Wallace, non-permanent part-time E911 dispatcher corrections officer, and temp hire, and it's also a transport driver. At the time of the written RBA, did not have a determined start date. Determined start date has been determined as October 3rd. Per Carrie yesterday. We also have a notice of hire of Kyler Butts, non-permanent part-time E911 dispatcher corrections officer, and temp hire as transport driver. Her start date is still to be determined based on her physical being passed. Then we have notice of hire of Billy Westover for eligibility worker. Start date to be determined. Tentatively, we're thinking this Thursday, but we are waiting on her background study. And then notice of employee transfer, Emily Amarud from administration to sheriff secretary position with a transfer date of October 6th.
And these are just notices, no action required?
Correct.
Right.
Just an update on the last one. We are evaluating that accounting specialist position for administration as well. And we'll probably talk about it in personnel committee on the 13th and then bring that recommendation to the board on the 14th.
So that'll be evaluated, backfilling this
Correct.
position here?
Yep.
Okay. So more to come on that. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Then we have approval of separation of Vincent Phillips of non-permanent part-time E911 dispatcher corrections officer effective 9/16/2025.
All right. Wishes of the board.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? The motion carries.
And lastly, I have approve of hire and separation of employment for Stephen Sari, non-permanent part-time E911 dispatcher corrections officer. Started on the 9th and resigned on the 16th. He is currently a teacher at the public school, couldn't make the training schedule work out.
Right. Wishes of the board.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
That's all I got for you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
We have first and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed?
I missed that one. Who motioned second?
Roach and Hill.
You guys are fast today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Backward order.
You guys have a great day.
All right, next up is to consider approval of the Rural Fire Protection Association 2020.
Good morning. Not very exciting, no changes, same as last year, same as the year before. We did make an adjustment to commercial rates 2 years ago, but we've not adjusted anything since.
So residential is still at the 90.
Yep.
The commercial rates.
Based on the value, the building value for each property, yeah.
So saying any changes with the city of Rainier either, no?
No, well, Rainier did go up when we raised the residential, but everything is passed, so we're this year the same as last year, so.
All right. So another year in the books?
Pardon?
Another year in the books?
Another one, yeah.
So. All right. Wishes of the board.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second. Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Thank you, Ms. Harvey, for
Thank you very much.
coming up here. Appreciate it.
Have a good day.
Thank you. You too. Any discussion on rate structure? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up is Public Health and Human Services. Derek.
Any additions?
Oh, excuse me. Thank you. You can stay there. Additions. See, everybody remembers except for me. I'm going to get it one day. All right, first edition is the summary of issues approve landlord's waiver and consent agreement with MDG Investment Group LP. And Adam, you know a little bit more about this?
Yeah, so we did this here maybe about a year ago. So, what was it? KQDS is a television firm that sold to Coastal TV of Minnesota. And so they had refinanced with a new investment firm or whatever. And so they need, their equipment on our tower is collateral for their investment, but they need the landlord's consent, which is us, to say if they default on their financial terms, that they can go retrieve the equipment off our tower. And so this is just us consenting to that piece. So we had a legal review done when it was with, I think, White Horse Investment last time. Now they've refinanced with MGG Investment Group. County Attorney's Office reviewed this, very similar to what we did a year ago. So they don't see any concerns with that.
This is to remove the equipment from the actual tower separate aside from the actual lease agreement that we have, correct?
Yes, this is just that they can, if they needed to, they can access it, remove it, and take the equipment as collateral to their agreement.
All right, thank you. Wishes of the board?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Rich.
And that is for the Van Nyn Road tower.
It is down on the end of the road there. Okay. Off at UT Road, okay. All right, any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. Next edition is consider approval of Pheasants Forever dedication event as a board activity. We have Nathan here if he wants to just kind of speak to it briefly.
Yeah, so they're speaking to Joe Doing with Pheasants Forever late last week. They have a tentative date set for that dedication event of Monday, October 6th at 4 p.m. It'll probably last roughly an hour. And then it sounds like they're talking about potentially having like a reception after at the Elks Club here in town following that event. So just background, this item has been before the board a few times over the last couple of years. It's a property out by Manitou between Indus and Birchdale that Opus Timberlands owns along the Rainy River. Pheasants Forever has bought it. It's primarily old farm fields. Pheasants Forever has bought it. They're going to in turn donate it back to the DNR, and the DNR will manage it as a sharp-tailed grouse management area for the public to use. And then they want to memorialize the work of both Bob Anderson and Bob Lassard with that site as well. So that's what the dedication event will be about.
So if there's a quorum of commissioners interested in attending, we probably need to approve a board activity. If there's not a quorum, we can just keep it as informational only, so that's for consideration with this topic.
That's right across from 86 or whatever.
Yeah, right across from the board plant in Barwick there. Yep.
Kingsville.
Yep, correct.
I will attend, likely. It's good growth.
I probably will. As well? No?
Maybe.
Maybe. Well, we'll maybe have it as a board activity just to be on the safe side. So if you guys can make it, that'd be great. I'm planning to attend, I think, and if Commissioner Erickson will there, he kind of knows that area inside and out, so it'd be nice if he could be there.
Yeah, no, I'll get some more details, but I know Pheasants Forever mentioned that, if there were some remarks that the county board chair could make,
Sure.
they'd appreciate that too, so.
Right. Sounds good. I appreciate you keeping up on all this, and certainly appreciate this year. It's kind of a special deal for these two folks. I mean, they've done a lot.
Both done a ton for.
Yeah, unbelievable amount of work. If you really get in, digging into the nuts and bolts of a community in an area, they really went over and above for many, many years. So certainly appreciate it, and well deserving. So, but yeah, we will see everyone there at 4 p.m. Monday, October 6th, 2025. And hope everybody can make it.
Yeah, and when I get that more formalized invite from Pheasants Forever, assuming it comes this week, I'll make sure everybody gets it here, so.
Okay. Sounds good. So, yes, please.
We'll need a motion.
Yeah, we'll make a motion to have it approved as a board activity, and who wants to go can, I guess. Thank you, Commissioner Erickson.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Nathan. All right, now we can go on. There you are, Derek. See, I just cut you off.
All right, good morning, gentlemen.
So we're going to start off with a void.
Yep. This was a check that didn't get cashed, so.
Cashed, it was reissued on that.
Yep.
All right, so first up is to approve the void 150 and 153 in the amount of 22,443.93.
Make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Howell.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. More discussion on the vote. Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? And motion carries. Item 2 is acknowledge a donation.
Yeah, Alex Manassa donated 82 books to the agency, 52 of them to the follow-along program. That's one of our programs out of public health where we send out ages and stages questionnaires. Helps identify children with maybe some special needs or delays and get them the help that they need sooner. So books to give to those families, and then 30 books for children in foster care that are working with our child protection system. So.
And now this paper pie, is that part of the school district?
You know, I'm not sure exactly what paper pie is, to be honest with you. But she did this. Alex Manassa did a fundraiser and raised the funds for these books to donate for our kids. So.
All right, well, certainly appreciate any donations, and books for kids are always a great start for them too. And I know kids really like books, so. Thank you, but as the statute is here, you have to have a motion and a resolution to accept the donation.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Please, if you want to send a thank you, that would be awesome. So appreciate your thinking of this. So, any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up is request to approve a mutual aid agreement.
Yes, this is a mutual aid agreement. We had one of these come before the board a couple of years ago, and it was approved. This one just has some language that was cleaned up in it. It's virtually the same thing, but it's mutual aid between all the counties in the region and including the tribes now on this one for public health and human services response. If there's any type of a public health emergency, we can call on the other agencies in the region, and this cleans up the language on how we do that. If we need more boots on the ground for something, we can request that, and vice versa. If we have the staff to share, or if we have the equipment to share, this lays it out how we can share that equipment and share that staff to respond to that emergency. I know the sheriff has something similar built up for emergencies, or set up for emergency services and stuff. This is for public health services things. So if you think back to the flood of 22, when we were running kind of bare bones at the site because public health and human services was running the sandbagging site virtually, or basically running the sandbagging site with the volunteer coordination and all that stuff. We could have utilized something like this to reach out to our other counties to see if they had any staff or supplies that could help us with that. So this allows us to do that. So.
Excellent, thank you. Wishes of the board.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
A motion by Commissioner Roach. Seconded by Commissioner Howell. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Next, you request approval for transportation.
Yeah, this is one that we do every year. I was just here, I think it was about a month and a half ago, with the one for ISD 362 and 363. This is the transportation of children and youth in foster placement agreement with ISD 361. This is to ensure that kids have continuity of education at their school that they have been attending. For some reason, if a child is placed with a foster parent and that foster parent is not in the International Falls School District, this sets out the responsibility of transporting that kid to the school that they're currently attending, so they don't have to change schools.
It just gives the funding to the district that is
Yes.
providing the service to the student.
Yep.
Excellent. Wishes of the board. Thank you, Commissioner Hall.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. And lastly, we have a burial.
Yep, this is a burial for one of our county residents that qualified under the Koochiching County burial policy. That's guided by statute, so
What was the amount of that again?
$1,375.
Thank you. Wishes of the board.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Thank you, Commissioner Hall. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, dear.
Yep, thank you. I do have to get some signatures from you if possible. Do you want to do that now or should I wait for them?
All right, where do you want to start?
First, we've got the quote from MacTech.
Yeah,
Slaughter.
yep, so this is the quote, and I provided you with updated quotes from both MacTech and DSC. Actually, the MacTech quote is the same, I just provided more detail. DSC, Duluth Superior Communications. What this project is we have what's called a voice logger or a radio logger in our, and it records all the traffic that's in our dispatch center, all the phone calls and all the radio traffic, which we're required to record and keep those recordings. So as part of the overall project with building the new jail and that new control/dispatch center, we're upgrading our phone system. It was found that our current logger that we have is not compatible, so we had to upgrade that. So you have a quote from both Blue Superior Communication for the Eventide logger, which we currently have, and the MacTech product, which is higher ground. And I'm recommending that we go with MacTech. After receiving quotes from both, initially they came in very similar, but when we got clarification from Duluth Superior Communications on if they were recording all 24 channels that we needed to, then the quote came in at about $10,000 higher. So the difference, MacTech is $24,680 and Duluth Superior Communications is $33,663. And then this project was actually scheduled, it was in my capital outlay plan for 2026, but because of everything else we have going on with our new center and the identifying that our current logger is outdated, I am making the request to move it from 2026 to 2025, and I had projected it to cost $35,000, but it's a little less than 25, so I just...
And using E911.
Yes, so the three things I had before you today are all E911, our special revenue fund. So yeah.
MacTech isn't good. I see they got a whole pile of them that they have.
They are, yes, regionally, they are in a lot of PSAPs, St. Louis County being our neighbor. They came with good references. Who else was on that list? Roseville County, I think, was Itasca, yeah, it was. But yeah, it's a needed project. It was going to happen in 2026, but just with timing, basically we're not going to be able to complete the call handling equipment hardware refresh that the board approved back in July until this piece is in place too. So it's necessary. I mean, we can delay it a few months, but delays everything. So.
What's the timeline to get this done?
He is confident that I asked him that question by mid-November it would be up and running.
So they'll be on site and installed and ready to go.
Yep, and their IES, who is our call handling equipment vendor doing the hardware refresh, they're very familiar with MacTech. They've worked with them on other projects, so they've already had some communication on what needs to be done.
Will this be set up in the new building or in the?
I believe it's going to be in the. I think it's going to be.
It'll be in the old.
It'll be okay. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Justin. Come on up here if you like. So the hardware, it'll just be hardwired over to the new facility?
Yeah, everything is going over with fiber, and then Aaron has a second RPA there for the additional hardware that we need to get it from the old server room to the new LEC server room.
Okay. So there's be kind of like a relay there via, okay.
Is there anything else you want to add?
MacTech also had the maintenance and support agreement in their code as well, and BS did not, so another value that came in.
What becomes of the equipment that gets replaced?
What's that?
What becomes of the equipment that is replaced?
It is essentially I believe it's just a computer. Essentially, it's the old logger equipment.
Yeah.
That's a computer. That's all it is.
There's no value in it?
Is there any value in the old logger?
Probably not.
Is it kind of obsolete now?
Yeah, we got that new logger in 2016, which 10 years, but when it comes to computer equipment, yeah.
That's outdated by
It's
6 years.
obsolete. And that really is unfortunately and you're familiar with it. I mean, I have presented on other, like even our tasers, like everything is, their electronic equipment, that computer equipment has like a 5-year life cycle on it, and then we're constantly in the state of replacement.
What you're recommending would be to MacTech for 24,680, timeline around mid-November-ish?
It's at 4 to 6 weeks after the order is placed.
Okay, all right. And then I'll coincide with the next RBA's coming up. All right, anything else to add on that one? I would accept a motion. I'll move forward with that. Motion by Commissioner Roach, seconded by Commissioner McIntyre. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. The next is the change order for the Vesta.
Yes, this one, do you want to lead this one, or you know
sure.
a little more about it than I do?
Well, initially we had planned to put all of the new hardware for the 911 call handling in the new law enforcement center server room. After due diligence and when we were thorough in considering our options, we decided to keep it in the old law enforcement center and bridge the signals over to the new law enforcement center. And in doing so, we need a point in between where the data can go. So this is the hardware to be that point in the middle. The run was too long from the old law enforcement center to the new law enforcement center, so it needed to stop in between. And essentially this is the hardware that will support that.
Great, so the information that'll be going through and recorded will be stored in this here and available, or is that?
That'll be from the first RBA.
Okay.
This one is to support the live calls.
Okay.
So they'll come in essentially into the old server room and then go across the building to the new law enforcement center, and then the calls will come back to the old server room for recording and logging.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So all the hardware is running out of the old server room, old LEC server room, but supporting the new location. And this second RBA is the hardware that supports that.
Okay. Was there a reason why it can't be in the new building, or is there just not a designated spot for that, or?
The logistics of moving everything and getting the dispatch center up and running, there were a lot of risks involved in moving and cutting over the services, so this minimizes the risks.
Okay. Will that be something looked at in the future, maybe?
Potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah, and I know that was the original plan, is to have everything in the new building, but then after a lot of discussion, there's a lot of risk involved. Because we have to essentially stop service and then restart it. There was a lot of unknowns on whether it could be done seamlessly or not. This is one project where I deferred to the experts completely on it. I don't know enough about it.
Yeah, no, we definitely don't want that interruption to last, happen or last long if it does.
Yeah, well, hopefully with this route, it'll be almost instant to switch over. And if we were to install everything in the new law enforcement center server room, they said it could be up to a week of downtime.
Okay. Well, that's quite a difference. So.
And that's at no cost to the county too there, right?
This is all, we're utilizing our 911 special revenue account, which is an account that it's dedicated for the PSAP and can only be used for PSAP related items. We can't use it for wages or benefits. It's all equipment that is in the PSAP, like the new dispatch furniture, or has a nexus to the PSAP. So it's a and we have a healthy account balance in there, but as you can see, the 911 projects cost a lot of money too. So sometimes, you look at the account fund and it's like, oh, there's a lot of money in there, but you get a project like this and it's $250,000 and they're expensive.
All right, wishes of the board.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hall.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Discussion. Discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Aye, opposed? And motion carries. And next up is a joint power agreement.
Yeah, so this one is, thank you, Justin. And the main reason I'm bringing it to the board is because that's exactly what it is, a joint powers agreement. And I had the county attorney's office review it and they didn't have any problems with it. But I'm going to read right from the RBA that just because it's, once again, kind of above me, but the Emergency Communications Network has a number of aging EZNet circuits that need to be replaced, and our PSAP is one of those locations. The work will require our call handling equipment vendor, which is IES, to be on site for the network transition and possible CHE firewall configurations. ECN is asking us to sign a JPA to allow for reimbursement from the state for any costs incurred by our PSAP, and the JPA will allow us to be reimbursed for up to $4,000. And we already got a quote from our vendor, which is IAS, and the work is expected to be $34,2880. At the end of the day, what that means is that the state identified an issue and they need to upgrade the EZNet circuits in our PSAP. The state's going to pay for it, but they want us to pay for it to engage our call handling vendor, pay for it, and then they're going to reimburse us on the back end, and that's what the JPA is. So even though we will pay initially out of our E911 Special Revenue Fund, we're going to get that money back from the state. Why the state just won't pay for it up front, I don't know, but I was notified of it, and that's just it, the state notified all the PSAPs that were affected of this issue that we had to do this, but don't worry, we're going to pay you back as long as you sign this JPA, so.
So just kind of a powers agreement to kind of do the work and get it done with what they're requesting to have done.
Absolutely, yeah.
Be able to be reimbursed for all of it, it looks like in this case.
Yeah, and because I'm not familiar with the JPAs, I had the county attorney's office review the JPA and all the language in it, and they approved it, so
Jeff signed off on it.
Well, it was Molly, so
okay.
It was probably even better.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so wishes of the board.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hawkins. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Next time I'll bring something we can all understand. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll jump back to assessor's business. Come on up, Len. Thanks for hanging out. He beat you by about 3 minutes.
Yeah, I tell you, it's been a morning from hell with phone calls and people and issues. You have an abatement. I text Nancy because I was in the middle of something when Margaret kind of got me because I want to make sure you have the numbers. But it's Minnesota Energy, and that's results from the tax court. There was several counties in the state of Minnesota involved in that. And the valuation increase or decrease is apportioned by what they have in our county there. And so this has been going on for how many years, you know, and it's a tax court deal. Railroads, power lines, all that kind of stuff, that's state assessed. So when there's an issue, they don't sue the county, they sue the state of Minnesota. And this, like I said, I don't know, this has been going on forever.
So this is their evaluations
Yes,
that they put on the asset
yes,
that decreased in valuation according to the tax court
yes,
settlement.
yes.
And they're looking to go for what years? For the past 2 years?
Yes, it'd be the year they filed, and I'm not sure what year that is.
Yeah, I see the tax year 2025.
Okay,
And then the interest 4% from 512 and 924
yes.
for a total of 33,616. Is there some type of a clause there where they cannot do this again for a couple of years, or is this continuing? Like
They
you said-
could file every year.
Oh, they can. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like when PCA sues us. We have to, they can't go back and go to tax court 2, 3, 4 years ago. They got a deadline that they have to file.
So they just keep.
And, you know, you bring up a good question because that does not say they cannot change the value the next year.
Right.
I mean, you know, if we, PCA, we go to tax court and the next year we raise the value, then we just get taken back into tax court again. You know, that's happening and has happened with all of the big corporations and everything. I think you guys have all been here long enough to go through not only Minnesota Energy, but the other stuff. You know,
But
yeah.
we're not interested in this today, so. Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. And then say Joe. So this is all went through the process and everything, and you're in agreement with it? And,
Yes,
okay.
yeah. There's frankly nothing we can do about it.
The next page, the next page breaks down where
Okay, I didn't know if you had that.
Because we collect all the taxes, we have to pay Minnesota Energy back the $33,000. The county's revenue related to that is the $7,170,144, and then you can see the cities and the school districts. And so on the second, we'll withhold that on the next payment to get our balance down to the $7,171.
Are the schools included in that?
I believe so.
They are. I didn't think they were, but maybe could be wrong.
And I think if you have more questions, I can certainly ask Joe how that works on that end, but this is their worksheet that breaks down how it's, what makes up the $32,000.
Okay.
Is that money out of the pocket, or is that just a reduction in their net tax capacity?
Well, we've already apportioned it, we've collected the first and second halves.
Collected that?
So the next time we collect, we'll reduce what we pass on to them by the amount to balance the funds out. I believe that's how Joan does it. It's not like they cut us a check back for what they owe us. That's how I understand it anyway, but.
Clear as mud.
So that total is 33,616.08, and that's what we'd be approving today, and the actual allocations from each entity are the county at 71,7144, International Falls at 14,899.10, Rainier at 801.27, ISD 361, 3632.23, and that was the NTC fund, and the ISD 361 RMV fund is 1629.32. Special districts are $73.83. The SGT is $4,917.41 for the total of $33,616.08.
I see Joan is online. If you have questions for her, I can unmute her if you want, or you can follow up if you want.
Questions for Joan?
And,
I'm a little curious about the school funds, I guess.
It seems like the city is getting it kind of hard. But the Minnesota Energy Resources Corporation is what?
Oh, wow, I don't know how many states they're in. When we get the numbers, if we get the numbers, I don't have them with me, about how much this affects each county they're in. They're in almost all the counties, I'm guessing.
But they are power provider?
Yes, Minnesota Power, Minnesota Energy.
And the bills come from Texas.
Yeah.
The bills come from Texas. This is the natural gas.
Oh, this is natural gas?
Minnesota Energy.
Okay.
Joan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
See, just a question on how these allocations are distributed or collected, or how does that work?
Just have to explain why the city.
It is shown on that spreadsheet. We key all the data into MSIS, our tax system, and it apportions it based on the net tax capacity of each jurisdiction. So when we do, like Adam said, when we do our October settlement, they will get paid less than they would have as we build those funds out of their settlement. And per our abatement policy, any jurisdiction that has an abatement of over $10,000, we have to notify them. So I did already notify the city of High Falls that this is pending and that it was being brought to the board today.
And how do the school districts work then? Does the state kind of hold back on that, or?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the process all the way through the end, but we do reports twice a year from my office. Sandra does them. It's called the school abatement reports. So twice a year they are notified of what's coming or what has been happening in their districts for abatements. And that report is sent in to the Minnesota Department of Education, so they are aware of this, and it somehow gets translated into their levy formula. I don't go all the way in the depth on that, that's kind of their thing, but we do notify the schools and Department of Education twice a year of their abatements.
Any other questions for Joan? Thank you, Joan.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think maybe most of the natural gas pipeline, or a majority of it, is probably in the city limits of International Falls. That's maybe why that allocation is a bit higher. I think outside the city limits there is some in the Rainier area and maybe on the outskirts of International Falls, but the majority of the usage and pipelines are probably within the city limits. So.
To be honest with you, I don't know how they allocate that, because when you get to the railroad, the value is on the total road, for instance, that goes through 6-7 states. And then that value is allocated to the state tract, and then it's allocated to the county or even to the city like Rainier. So it's quite a process of getting that down to who it affects and how much on that.
Yeah, that's kind of a strange way of doing it, I guess.
Yeah,
So.
I hear that.
Great. wishes of the board. Do we have a motion here to accept this?
I'll make a motion.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Roach. Seconded by Commissioner Hell. As presented. So we'll just move forward with the amount that is presented here and the allocation ones that are here on our sheet. So any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you.
Morning.
So first up, we have consider combined parcel rezoning and conditional use permit 2125-1261 for some commercial mini storage buildings.
The Planning and Zoning Commission met on Thursday, September 11th, 2025 to hold a public hearing on the combined parcel rezoning and conditional use permit application submitted by Holly Barr representing Warren Barr. Holly is here today. The parcel is located approximately 2 miles south of International Falls, near 3343 Highway 53. The applicant is requesting to rezone their parcel from O1 Open Space District to C2 Limited Commercial and request a conditional use permit in order to construct commercial mini storage buildings. As per section 2.81 of the Koochiching County zoning ordinance, the C2 Limited Commercial requires approval of a conditional use permit for any proposed use. The Planning and Zoning Commission heard information provided by the applicant and public comment. The Planning and Zoning Commission unanimously recommended approval of the combined parcel rezoning and conditional use permit application is submitted. And so I'd recommend that the county board do the same.
So we're going from O1 open space to a C2 limited commercial with the conditional use of the small storage.
Yeah, to construct and operate commercial mini storage buildings. Yeah. I suppose it could just be commercial storage buildings.
Commercial storage buildings.
Because whether it's mini or, but that's what they were proposing anyways. And all around the parcel was C2 district, so it's consistent with the neighborhood as well. So just another point of fact, I guess.
Holly, would you like to speak to this?
Perfect. I have no questions for yes.
Would you like it says commercial mini storage buildings, would you like that to be potentially changed to just commercial storage buildings, just to not potentially limit you in the future?
Commercial storage buildings would be just fine.
Okay, I mean, then that would include mini storage, I'd imagine, or any type of commercial storage.
Correct.
Okay.
That would be great. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else to add?
I don't unless you have questions.
Okay. Questions? Good to go? Okay.
Thank you.
No questions. I'll turn it over to the board.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Thank you. Next up is approved.
They would have an opportunity to bid on it. I assume they will. And their contract corresponds with our disposal contract with Marquette. So their contract ends at the end of 2025, and so does Marquette's. And so we'll go out for bid for that purpose. So no, I haven't, but they will receive the bid information. So and they've done that in the past. They've bid on our contract in the past, and they've been great. Dealing with us and taking care of business as they should. So it's great.
attorney's reviewed this?
So I reviewed it with the county attorney. We had, that was one thing I wanted to share with you. So this still needs to go to St. Louis County for their approval. So there might be some, little bit of moving and shaking as far as the contract terms. But I've been talking with Dave Fink over at St. Louis County, who's there, is my counterpart in St. Louis County, and he's agreed to all the terms. I just hit him with, the county attorney hit me with to check with MSIT as far as our liability insurance. So the limit is, let's see, cap of $500,000 per claimant and 1.5 per occurrence. So I changed the contract to include that, what our MSIT general liability coverage is. So that's one edit from the version that you have there, but that was based on review process. And there's a couple of clerical items that the county attorney identified, and so we changed a couple of those items. But I guess today I'm looking for approval, and then if there was some minor edits that St. Louis County was wanting to make, that it gets reviewed by the attorneys and making sure everything's okay with them. So.
I'll move to approve St. Louis County.
Thank you, Commissioner Act.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Mel. Any more discussion? All right, well, thank you, Matt, for all the work on this. And moving forward, just to reiterate, it's a 44 per ton with a CPI adjustment, and it's a 10-year term with a Canada clause. And of course, the mileage is 104 miles one way.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. Next up is a fee schedule.
Yes, so again, the fee schedule is something that we approve every year. As you're well aware, the cost to manage solid waste has continued to go up over the years, and we haven't adjusted these fees since 2020. The Solid Waste Advisory Committee reviewed the rates and recommended the attached fee schedule that's in your packet. The proposed fees include a change in the residential solid waste fee from $70 to $85 per year. The seasonal classifications are proposed to change from $28 to $85. Commercial non-residential solid waste fee will be based on the type of use and based on a code system, which will allow for the fee to be placed on the tax statements rather than sending separate invoices. The fee schedule includes any parcel with a county assessor building value greater than $4,999 shall pay the solid waste management fee. No changes recommended for the tipping fees at this time. So, last year I had proposed increasing the compacted rate from 24 to 30, and the county board for 2025 approved from 24 to 27. I'm not including increase from 27 to 30, but it's something we would consider, in 2027. But it's not in this proposed fee schedule.
Issues over there.
Make them more.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Anything else to add on that? Just a lot of work done by the solid waste group and your office, kind of going through really in detail on how to figure this out, from what I understand. I think getting away from the actual tonnage and usage of it and getting more into a fee schedule type of thing, I think is not seamless, but I think kind of a good transfer over and a little bit easier to manage. Is that right?
That's correct. And yes, our Solid Waste Advisory Committee had met quite a bit and has been working on this. I mean, we've been working on this for years, trying to come up with what's a good way to manage this. And we've looked at a lot of different options, but I think this particular way of doing it, as far as the non-residential commercial parcels, will be more efficient and easier for people. Like it to be on their tax statements rather than a separate bill. So I think that'll go better. So.
Mr. Chair, that'd be just important to take a step back and explain why we're raising. We're projecting a deficit at a 26 based on the increased costs of, I think, $176,000, while we're already supplementing your department at about $500,000 a year with levy dollars. So just to keep current with the cost of managing that waste is the big reason this will help close that gap moving into next year.
That's correct. Yeah. So, like I said, we haven't increased the solid waste fee collected that's added to the tax statements since 2020, and we know, throughout those years we've had significant increases in expenses. Years ago, when they established the current way that we collect tipping fees and solid waste fees, they were trying to split the cost of solid waste management through those fees. Now, over the years, because of not increasing fees, some of that balance has been, adjusted for through, levy dollars, as Adam is mentioning here. So. Today's fee increases would close the gap to some extent, but we also have some long-term potential increases in costs associated with solid waste with new rulemaking that the MPCA is proposing at the state level. And if those rules go into effect, there could be substantial cost increases to the county. And again, that's in the future, but it's not too far in the future if those rules get passed along. So the costs associated with managing solid waste are continuing to go up, and I think in the future will continue to go up. And we need to try to find a way to bridge the gap a little bit.
Well, and to go into that rabbit hole, it includes lining of demo sites, et cetera, and we have a demo site. And where's the next demo site from here?
Yeah, so I guess St. Louis County or DEMCON probably would be the closest ones that would probably meet those requirements that they're proposing. Again, we'll look at the options related to that, here in the near future. But yeah, the cost associated with hauling demolition would be a bad deal. And extra cost associated with that compared to our current cost structure. And so, we need to look at all those options. And again, moving forward with maybe a Fort Francis option in the future might be something that will really benefit the tax base if we could, if that could come to fruition. So.
Well, yeah, I'm just thinking about costing of the liner, the maintenance of that, the well monitoring, all those types of things, and then look at it over the life of the 40 years or whatever you want to call it, and then just see what it would cost to haul that 7,000 cubic yards of demolition to somewhere else, I guess, and if that pencils out to where it's significant savings over time, I think we got to at least, I wouldn't say consider it, but at least look at it, I guess. So
that'll be a future discussion that we'll have to present. So.
Sure. Well, that was a little ways down the rabbit hole, but I think that's some of the reasons, good reasons too. I mean, like I say, we always try to push back on these types of things a little bit where we can, but I think, there is some legitimacy to doing some of the things that they do as well, so to keep the water and the environment safe too, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, great. Wishes of the board.
Do a first and second, Mr. Chair.
Do we?
Yep.
Who was that? I'm
Roach
sorry.
and Hell.
Roach and Hell, thank you. Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next up is to certify delinquent commercial solid waste service fee list.
So
It's an annual event.
it is an annual event, although with the new fee schedule, this process will end. So this is the current list, and I didn't have, this was as it closed yesterday. So every year, we send out the invoices for the non-residential commercial parcels, and it's required that we certify to the county auditor, certify a list of anything that hasn't been paid. Any of them that do not pay the fee by the date of certification by the county board will be listed on the delinquent commercial solid waste service fee list. The county auditor will add a delinquent fee with a 10% penalty to the tax. Statements due in 2026. And so I recommend the county board certify the list. We will continue to, if somebody sends in payment, obviously, that'll be then not put on their taxes. But this has to be certified by October 1st per ordinance. So.
All right, wishes of the board. Amount delinquent is $13,345.
Say that again, Jason.
The 59 total solid waste fee delinquent tax, and then the total 449 total solid waste fees paid are $125,675, and the 5 solid waste fees grand total is $139.20.
Yeah, that's the total amount that we collect on that billing, and then
Yep, and 10%,
Yeah.
which would be what for today would be the $14,679.50.
correct.
So we have the total, and then the delinquents are the ones that
Yeah.
will be.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Motion to certify.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Hill. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you. And lastly, we have considered adopting a resolution of support for the Ash River collection and treatment system.
Right, so the Voyageurs National Park Clean Water Joint Powers Board has been working on obtaining funding to help provide centralized wastewater collection and treatment services to properties in the Ash River currently served by individual systems, many of which are non-compliant and non-compliant with state and county standards. This would be a project similar to our centralized sanitary sewer projects we have completed in the past. As you know, the water from this area eventually flows through Rainy Lake and Rainy River and further downstream. This project would be another step in the process of improving water quality within our shared watershed. And I'd recommend adopting the resolution of support so that they can try to, obtain funding and get their project completed.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. Thank you, Commissioner Hall. Discussion. Just an ongoing thing, right? So we want to get support where we can, and they certainly need it out there. They have a pretty good sized area there with small lot sizes, and I think, that's some of the issue with some of the non-compliance is not having the proper, or not having enough room to do what they need to do there to get rid of the waste. So it certainly will help them out. And it's been ongoing for several years now. So they're just one of many entities. Ourselves are included here with our sewer system up the lake, as well as Captogama, Crane Lake, and Ash River. So Crane Lake has had a lot of work done. Captogama's had, I think, a project, I believe, down there done. And they're working on furthering that on a phase 2. And then Ash River's kind of getting off the ground. I think a lot of the site work and a lot of the prep work has been done. I know they have some things to work through there with property, easements and things like that, which is kind of common, I guess. But to get going here, it's going to be, I think it's a 26 million-ish, somewhere around in that area.
These projects take years and years, and trying to obtain funding takes years, and having joint powers board with St. Louis County is a positive thing. It helps to try to coordinate getting that funding, and we work together with St. Louis County. Projects for them and projects for us will be more easily funded, I guess. And so a letter of support in this case is benefits the watershed, which comes through our area. Our source of water is right, the same water. And so anything we can do to make it a better water source, we certainly want to do that. And I'd definitely recommend supporting the resolution.
Any other discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed? And motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, this time is public comments. I think we have some public comment, perhaps.
You guys want to say anything for the RV park up the lake?
Yeah.
You gotta come forward.
Yep.
We are working on our expansion, and part of that expansion is putting in a well house for the well to service the sites. Per our attorney and our understanding of how the CUP was written, it's that the sites cannot start before 120 feet from the shoreline. It specifically says RV sites. We don't see anything in there saying servicing the business or anything like that. So we applied for a permit to put the well house 50 feet from the shoreline, following setbacks, and we were denied. And Matt's a huge ally of ours. We appreciate him. But our attorney said this is something you need to fight because it'll set precedent for anything in the future, basically saying that that land is basically unutilizable. So I just wanted to come here and kind of get your guys' take on how it was written and what you think. Per the meeting, that how we remember it is it was for the RVs going in so that the neighbors do not have to look out their window at an RV. It didn't say anything about buildings, anything about the servicing of the business. And so my husband has had everything, the conduit in the ground, the water ran, everything, the forms shored up, everything ready to build the building. And after talking to Matt, he said you need to get a permit because otherwise it'll be considered a storage unit. And it'll void that part of your CUP and you won't be able to build a storage unit in the future. So we applied and we got denied based on it being within that 120 feet.
Comments?
Well, I actually printed off a copy of the thing, I was just letting Adam McIntyre read it and stuff, and I'll pass it around. I mean, I read through that thing there, which, this was on the thing before us, this was basically you, your guys' term did this before ours, and me reading that, I agree with the way she's saying it. It doesn't say anything, it just says RVs, it doesn't say nothing about a building up in that. A 50-foot buffer from the lake I can see, but it doesn't say nothing about building a, how big a shed can you build without a permit?
So a storage building, 10 by 12, less than 120 square feet. So
And you don't need a permit for
you
that?
don't need a permit, but you got to meet zoning requirements.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big is this building going to be?
8 by 12 is what, just the most recent.
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
8 by 12. And again, I reviewed with our land use attorney, and the advice that he provided me is the basis of how I responded to the applicant related to this building. So
Which was?
that the 120-foot setback from the west shoreline should apply to the well house. He also indicated that if it was enlarged, and you don't want to call it a storage building because it's a well house, it's not a storage building. And in their 2001 CUP, it calls for a storage building, which is 1. And so I didn't want them to have an impact related to that. So minimize the size of the well house, so that's just for the well. And that's why they came to the conclusion of what their final application showed. But as long as it meets the 120-foot west lakeshore setback and all other setbacks, it was the advice of the attorney that would then meet the requirements of the CUPs.
I disagree. I was at that meeting, and I know what we discussed, and the biggest issue that the neighborhood had was having the RVs out within that, from that 50-foot buffer zone. Now, cabins can be out there, right? It says 3 cabins, and it also, when you state the use that you can have there, it says accessory buildings. And I'm looking at it as like, well, if and there'll be more here too. I mean, so far as what you can and can't do with it. I just, the intention of that meeting was RV sites. It wasn't well houses, it wasn't cabins, it wasn't anything like that. And just because it's not specifically stated in this conditional use, why can it not be permitted?
We certainly could set up a meeting with council, and they can provide you information based on the advice that he provided me. I guess I don't.
Well, why? There's got to be a reason. It isn't stated in here.
Yeah, I guess I would.
So now we're gonna go on to private property and tell people where they can and can't put certain things.
We have zoning.
I know we have zoning setbacks, but if we're following the setbacks like they're going to, the 50-foot waterfront and the 10-foot side yard, I guess that's what I don't understand. And I am a little bit worried about the precedent too, that, it's not really going to give us a good impression to be able to have that authority over private property. I mean, that's one thing, not just for them, but for other folks as well, thinking, what about myself? What about yourself? To say, hey, we can't do this. I mean, we approve variances all the time when people do it. So why not just let them do it and come back and get a variance?
Variances are not automatic.
Well, I know they're not automatic, but they have been around here. They've been automatic when somebody builds too close to a lot line or goes ahead and says an after-the-fact variance. I've seen several of them come across the emails that are after-the-fact variances. So why not just say, okay, we're going to do an after-the-fact variance of allowing this to happen and let them do what they want to do? I mean, is that what a variance take care of it, I guess, and instead of going through the CUP?
Yeah, I mean, people, in this particular case, there's conditions related to the conditional use permit. I obtained advice from our land use attorney. I applied that advice in the issuing of this permit. The permit is issued based on that advice. If you want to have a conversation with our legal counsel related to land use, we certainly can have that. But I don't think we can make it, I don't know if I...
Yeah, well, I know what the intent was at that meeting, because I was there. And we went through how many meetings? We went through about 4 or 5 meetings there, and the intent was for the RVs. It was not for buildings. So at least that's my intent. And I vouch and testify to that. I think that was at least the supporting members of that CUP would say the same thing. I think we had a lot of discussion about it. And I think, and I remember the discussion because the Robins weren't happy about being able to having to lose 3 sites because it's revenue that they could use, obviously. So that was a consideration when we approved the conditions. Another issue I think that we may have and may want to look at is and maybe we can't do anything about it right this second, but I really think that we need to allow when a entity or a business or something like that has plans, I think we need to look at a longer range type of deal. Future development, potential future development, instead of always having to come back and reopen that can of worms. I think in this particular situation, they have 3 cabins and 11 sites, but they can not have either or. Looking at it now, why can't you take away 3 RVs and put a cabin, or 2 RVs and put a cabin if that's what the room requires you to do, according to your setbacks and so forth. That's what I don't understand either. So I think that should be amended as well. And I don't know why we can't amend the CUP to be able to do that. I think is the intention, at least the way it was written, and I understand it was approved at that meeting, but I don't agree with the intent and how it's being interpreted today. So. And it's not just to benefit the Robins, which it is going to benefit them, because I believe they should be able to put this a pump house within the 50-foot line of that. That's just what I believe that. And I don't know that we would be in a very good spot if we were to be challenged either. And I'm no attorney, so I'm not going to pretend I am, but I think it's a land use issue that I think can be interpreted about 50 different ways, and I think the way they're interpreting it is correct. So, and I just learned of this here, probably less than 24 hours ago. So.
Yeah, and I just learned of the location last week, and so, when, as soon as they originally were proposing in a different location that was far away from this location, so the 120 was not even a thought process. But when something comes up, and I know that this has been a process, I know that the Robins have had, when they went through the CUP process, it was a difficult, process. All CUPs are that way. I mean, a lot of them anyways. It's a challenge, because there can be different opinions related to how people feel about proposed developments within their neighborhood, and so they share those thoughts, and that's why the Planning Commission, hears all those comments in a public hearing, and then makes a recommendation to the county board, and then the county board takes action. And just like today, we had a public hearing with the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission hears those comments, and then makes a recommendation based on the applicant, based on any comments it might receive, and their own analysis of the project, and then makes that recommendation, and the county board then makes the final determination.
I'm going to read this motion here, Matt, from 4 of 2022. Motion by myself, seconded by Commissioner Ady, to amend the 2001 CUP 0106 and amend the planning and zoning recommendation of the amended request from the Robins to construct from request of 12 down to 11 RV sites, which I think originally started at 14.
17 initially.
17 initially, 3 on one side, 4 on the other, additional to the ones that were proposed in the 2001, which was then again reduced upon request by that commission, or by that committee. Okay. Down to 11 RV sites on the north parcel and 2 sites on the south, for a total of 43 RV sites. For the north RV sites, this is key, I think. For the north RV sites, setback shall be no closer than 120 feet from the west shoreline as measured along the north line of the applicant's property. So to me, that sentence says RV sites and RV sites only. It does not specify 120 feet on anything else. So I guess I don't understand what the issue is here. It specifically says for the north RV site, setback shall be no closer than 120 feet from the west shoreline as measured along the north line of the applicant's property.
And because of the contentious nature of this development.
No, that's not it.
Well, just a minute, I just want to, I got to
That's-
say, that I got advice from our land use attorney.
Well, contention is, contention is contention, but the words are the words.
And I
So
let
these
them
are,
interpret.
the contention of how it's interpreted is, in my opinion, irrelevant, because it says what it says.
Yeah.
It says, for the north RV site, setback shall be no closer than 120 feet for the west shoreline as measured along the north line of the applicant's property. And the setback from the south shoreline shall remain 50 feet. Additional condition to allow the development of 3 cabins or 11 RV sites in the north parcel. This use will be either cabins or RV site, but not both. I think that should be changed as well. Just so you don't have to come back, basically. No cabin shall be constructed with any RV sites in the north parcel or vice versa. Cabins could be built to current setback requirements with an additional condition of 4-foot foliage barrier. We talked about all that. From the west edge of the rights home extending east 200 feet to 40-foot easement. Additionally, construction or hauling. And then there's some worry of the road recommendations from the county engineer. So I guess I don't see the issue of being able to encroach on that 50-foot setback with a building. It says RV sites. Yeah, I understand that, and that was the intention of that meeting, was to not have these RVs in the view of the house of the neighbors, which I understand that. I think everybody there understood that. But I think in this situation, that kind of changes. I think the RVs will still be 120 feet back, I would imagine, right?
Yep.
And the buildings, now, if there was to be a cabin built there, would you build that within that 50-foot encroachment?
Absolutely.
So I guess that's what I'm wondering, why this cannot be granted to be within that 50-foot.
And all I can refer to is the attorney, and we could set up a meeting right away so that you could have him explain the advice that he provided, and then give us, and then the decision can be made at that time, I think.
Mr. Chair?
yes, please.
It's if they're going to build a cabin, that could be 50 feet.
Yes.
But it's not allowed under, during the current motion says that it's either RVs or cabins, not both.
Right, but if they were going to build cabins, it would be 50 feet.
Correct, that they would have to meet the 50
But
foot.
we can't put an 8 by 10 building there. Yeah.
As part, and again,
No,
I guess I'm not going to try to put words in the attorney's mouth. All I can say is the attorney provided me the advice. That's why we have the attorney, and I ask the question, are we going to have, what's your advice related to this? And this was the advice he provided. So we certainly could have that meeting, and, he can explain, the position.
So this is an email from Steve Blair dated Friday, March 4th, 2022. It's addressed to Bruce Sampson, who was the chair at the time, the planning and zoning chair. It says, hi Bruce, I spoke to Kelly Myers and he said group R3 is for 1 and 2 family residents, which would apply to the original approved CUP for the 3 cabins north of the channel. The group U occupancy would apply to storage buildings, which would apply to the original CUP that allows constructing a storage building as well as the 3 cabins on the north side of the channel. He stated the RV campground would likely be grouped into a commercial class of the state building code. He said the main thing was the narrow 275 that was entering the property. So I guess it's out of the office, our office here, from Steve, that through the advice of Kelly, who is on the planning and zoning, that it sounds like there's a storage building that was on there, planned to be on there anyway.
So the 2001 included a storage building.
Right. So the 2001 CUP was amended, correct?
Correct.
So then why would it not be included?
The storage building is included.
So then why can't it be permitted?
A storage building can be permitted. But the storage building that they want to build is different than this well house. This is not.
We can't have a /storage well house?
Well, they can have a storage building well house, but the CUP in 2001 says building. Interpretation is one building. So if you build a well house, I was suggesting you don't want to encumber your one building by this well house. They want to build a storage building that holds boats, or I'm not even sure what the game plan
Just
is in the
pools
future.
equipment. We're looking at
How big?
potentially.
How big?
I'm the wrong person for that.
Okay.
And holes knee deep in trenches.
Yeah.
So The reason that the permit didn't get filed sooner to give more time for this is because we were under the assumption it wasn't needed. We read the CUP, we thought we had no problem putting it 50-foot setback. Like I said, the conduit was in the ground, water lines were in the ground, everything was formed up. We were ready to pour the concrete. And then Matt had said, well, if you do that, it's going to be considered your storage building.
Could, I never said would.
Or
Could be considered.
And he goes, so with the way the neighbors are, I think you should file for this permit and put it as others so that it's a well house so it does not wipe out your storage unit for the future. And so that's what we did, and never did we imagine there being a problem with the location because of how the conditional use permit is written.
Well, I read it a whole different way than the attorney that Matt's using. And I respect that attorney, of course, but I disagree with that assumption. I disagree with them. So I don't agree with it, unfortunately. And I believe that we should be changing, we should be granting a permit for that type of building on that area. And I guess what I don't understand either, Matt, is, it's a storage building. And it's a permitted storage building. If that's under the discretion of a CUP, but yet it still comes under the interpretation of your office, then why have the CUP? Makes no sense. If it doesn't state exactly, how are we supposed to know what they're going to want to do 3 years from now? There's got to be some type of a thing here that can cover this. I mean, I just don't understand.
So my advice is to get together with Jay and have that discussion.
No, it's not going to change my mind. So
Yeah. No, but I think
I'm
it's
not going to
important
get together with it because it really isn't going to change my mind at this point. Because I can read it again.
Sure.
I mean, it says what it says. You wrote it. We all agree. The county board at the time unanimously agreed to it, and it kind of says RV sites. So I really don't know why you cannot issue this permit.
Sure.
So I would say to issue the permit for what they're looking for within the normal setbacks of a normal building. I just don't see where we're going to be winning this if they want to push it, which I'm sure they don't. But at the same time, nobody wants to really go down that road. But I really think we're kind of constricting development here myself.
For the future.
Well, this is the future. Yeah, we are the future.
So literally all day yesterday, my husband tore up all the lines, moved it to the new location, which is now in the middle of the road, pending or impeding on our first site. We're going to have to limit the size of the RV now because it's in the road for an RV to get in. And so I spent all day doing that yesterday, and it's frustrating.
So I have no intention of trying to create any issues for anybody, but we have an attorney for a reason, ask those questions. That's what I did. If the board wants to, have a different position, that's okay. I mean, it's no problem. That's why we have those attorneys. So ask those questions.
And Chair, accept a motion to grant a permit to be able to allow the Robins to build within the 50-foot setbacks for the well house / storage / pump house.
I'd make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach. Thank you, Commissioner Hell. Further discussion?
We're changing to buildings. Should we have it change so that they're not limited to 1 or 2 buildings?
Well, I don't think they probably want 10 or 15 out there, but for now, it's just this pump house.
This is just a well house. It's not a storage
Possibly a
building.
little building that you wanted to.
Yeah. We want to build the storage building behind where our office is now, away from the neighbors.
Out of sight.
Yeah.
Not obstructing the lake.
Correct.
And I would assume that this building is going to be aesthetic.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not going to be built out of pallets or
No.
anything.
We take a lot of pride in our business.
Parky's back there, he might have a different opinion.
Leave her out.
Mr. Chair, can you restate the motion?
Motion to allow permit to be granted to Cole and Carrie Robin, Rainy Lake RV, is that correct?
Yep.
To be able to be a granted permit for a well / pump house / storage, small storage.
Can we remove storage from that?
We can do pump house / well house.
Yes, please.
Because it's really not big enough.
It's not a
8 by
storage,
12
no.
ain't big enough for a storage shed.
Within the normal 50-foot setbacks.
And meet the side yard setback.
And side yard setback, which is, I believe, 10 feet.
It is 10 feet.
And I think in the original, we won't change the original foliage request.
Yep,
I think
that's all getting planted hopefully in the next week or two.
Okay.
We haven't done it sooner because we've been disturbing the land and we don't want to plant a bunch of stuff and have it die right away.
All right. Any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And motion carries. Thank you.
All right, thanks for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thank you, Matt. Thanks, Matt. Do we have any public comment? Any public comment online? Nope. All right, hearing no other public comment, do we have any other business? Roundtable. Any roundtable updates? No committee updates?
I met with the DNR yesterday. We started like a board meeting thing about the fishery on Rainy Lake, and if there's going to be any changes to their current policy. It all kind of seems like it's going to stay about the same. But we haven't got into the weeds on all of it, but all the testing and netting they've done, everything seems to be in line. It was a good meeting to go to.
Yeah, they're going to have a few more of those right over the next year or so.
Yeah.
In our airport, we have, they finally did the final wear pattern was done, the final wear quote was done yesterday. In the parking lot where the fuel tanks and everything else were removed out of the parking lot because now we have above ground storage. That is all done, and it looks like the airport will be good for 15, 20 years again before anything else major has to happen to it. So very well done with KGM. Did an awesome job on that parking lot / airplane runway / storage. Yes, it was a big lot. It was a 2-month project, but they got it done. They took a lot of dirt out, hauled a lot of dirt in, put a lot of drainage in. So very well needed, but very well taken care of. And my next one is the ATVs, and we're going to have that at the committee of the whole. So
Sounds good.
Housing consortium in Grand Marais earlier in the week. They constructed a 36-unit housing complex in 2.5 days in Grand Marais. Yeah. Dynamic homes out of Detroit Lakes components. But they're money, of course, being suspect from the feds now, so everybody's in the holding pattern. Second thing is I just heard yesterday, I think that the into school, the closing on that is middle of October. So that's pretty well the tax rolls, I would assume. And see what happens from there.
perfect time to get the power turned back on so nothing
Well, it's
freezes.
supposed to be turned back on, I guess. I heard that. And the district is supposed to have somebody on site to make sure everything starts up correctly, the boilers and everything else. I guess that's the district responsibility apparently. So we'll see what happens out there.
Perfect. Any other updates? Well, thank you. If there's no other updates, no other business, nothing, Adam, that we got for business, we'll accept the motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Commissioner Roach.
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner McIntyre. All those in favor of adjournment, please say aye. 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 Opposed? And we are adjourned.